Good morning, beautiful people. This is Christian Hernandez, also known as XDian Mitra, and I wanted to make the second video about the first video when I had mentioned about not everyone being able to help people with mental illness. I know that that was a very rough explanation, and why I said what I said, but it's the truth. Not everyone is equipped to help people, and on my first video, I think I titled it "Stop Making People Feel Bad" or something like that. It talked about how I have to, on a daily basis, work with patients that are going through some mental illness, and some of them try to unalive themselves or hurt themselves because not everyone knows how to handle stress or certain situations in life. And that can be many things that will be talked about in a later video, but the reason I stated that not everyone can help those type of people is because you have to be specially trained, and you do not want to give bad advice to the wrong person. And also, we have to be careful what we post, what we say, what we do, especially if you're a Christian. You have to represent yourself and keep your standards on how you see yourself way above than the average person. The reason for this is because you're a leader. And also, not everyone that's a leader knows how to be a leader. So, the reason for that video is because that day I was just seeing a bunch of patients back to back with APAL, that's what we call them, patients that, I don't know, it was just that day, but we were just getting them back to back to back. And it really got to me because of the ages, and mental illness can run with many types of people, many different ages, and a lot of them are students or elderly people, believe it or not. And certain situations, when they talk to us, it can be about family members and how they're being treated, or it can be bullying at school, or it can be them trying to understand their current situation, or sexuality. The sexuality is always a big thing with the young adults. So it just got to me, and then I see a lot of friends of mine that are Christian posting about what's going on in the world and the transgender community, and it's always gay this, gay that, God hates this, God doesn't approve of this, the Bible says this, and they post all of these things that make these kids really think some stuff, and it leads them to do things that they end up regretting later. But again, it all starts with that one video. It all starts with that one conversation. It all starts with giving that bad example. So that's why I say we have to be very careful on how and what we say to these young generation, and just in general to people. And I have noticed in many churches, because I've been in church since I was a baby, so I grew up in church, and I myself, being a victim of all of these things that I posted, I've been assaulted, I've been mentally abused, physically, sexually, emotionally. Those are things I'll talk about later. But right now, I want to talk about just mental illness, mental abuse. You can be a mental abuser just by posting the wrong thing, or saying the wrong thing, or giving a bad example to try to make your point. In this generation, because I'm also a substitute teacher, I was a teacher for a year. I couldn't do it because of different circumstances, but I am still a substitute teacher, and I talk to all these kids, and I let them know that I'm here to actually help and listen to them. And a lot of these kids tell me, you know, their experiences with their family, with the Christian church, with church in general, with religion. And a lot of them just leave because they do not know how to handle the criticism, or there is no support to back up what a lot of people are saying about different topics. You can't just tell a person what you're doing is wrong and just verbally say it, or show them from a book. How are you helping them? Because we're all so easy to criticize, to be like, oh yeah, you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, and this is why you're doing, no. We need to tell them, okay, what can lead to this? Give those examples, live by example, show that you love them, not just judge them. If you disagree with something, okay, you made your point, but now how are you going to help them? Because you obviously have the opinion, right? So if you're telling someone, don't do drugs, right? Okay, now what? You already said don't do drugs, but what's the solution then? And some people nowadays, especially the young generation, they're full of all of this crap that we're giving, that, you shouldn't do drugs because it ruins your life. Okay, but what resources do you have? Don't just present something and not give a resolution. Because when that happens, that's when they're like, you're capping, you're full of crap, right? As they say, you're capping. So you're lying, you know, or you're just talking. So this generation wants results. They want you to give them facts. Give them why you're saying what you're saying. Not just opening your mouth because you have one. They don't want to hear these little things or judgments in general. Okay, why are you judging them? Have you experienced it? That's why I say not everyone is equipped to help specific people. And yes, you may be a leader, you may be a pastor, yeah, you may be a youth leader, you might be, I don't know, whatever leadership you feel you are. But have you equipped yourself? Have you read the books? Have you volunteered in areas of what you're about to say? You just can't tell someone don't do drugs. Have you done them? How do you know they're bad? Just because you read them, you need to have the experience. You need to have that backup. And that's what a lot of youth pastors and people that work with youth, they don't have that experience, or they don't have that knowledge. Or okay, you went to a Christian seminary, right? Okay, and that still doesn't give you and forgive me for what I'm about to say, and I'm coming from a medical aspect. I have my medical licenses, I have my medical degrees. If you know what I do, you know what I do. If not, I'll talk about it in a later video. But I work with patients every day, and I deal with a lot of people with mental illnesses and labor and delivery and the ED, and so I see these things, I experience it, I have lived it, so I can walk the walk and talk the talk, right? Most people can't do that. I have educated myself, and I'm not telling you this to put myself up high. It's just a lot of people do a lot of talking. Ooh, so much talking that is starting to irritate me, because you're telling these youngsters, you're telling these people, don't do this, but then where are the resources? Have you educated yourself enough to be like, okay, there's a halfway house that